Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so welcome. Good evening to Gita Gyan Level 2, Chapter 17. So we have three more classes, 17, 18 Part 1, 18 Part 2. Okay, this is Sri Sri Nitai Sundar Gaurahari, SGM KL, ISKCON KL, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai. Praise to the spiritual teachers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vikna Vinasha Narsimha Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The program is dedicated to His Divine Grace His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. No problem, Mataji. Welcome. Understanding of Gita. Okay. Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. So this one I will tell you why. These are the things that we will learn in detail in Bhakti Virisha. These are one of the things I've seen before many years back. So here we will just run through that. We have to accept perfect knowledge which comes down as it is stated in Bhagavad Gita by the parampara, following the guru, right, from Krishna, Brahma, Narada Muni, Vyasadeva, and so on. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciplic succession, beginning with the supreme spiritual master, the Lord himself, and handed down to a succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from Lord Krishna, accepts everything that he says without contradicting him. One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad Gita and not another, right? Not selective. No, we must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first words were spoken by the Lord himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called apaurushaya, meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of the mundane world who is infected with 4 defects. Okay, a mundaner, number 1, is sure to commit mistakes. Defect 1. Defect 2, he is illusioned. Number 3, he has the tendency to cheat others. Number 4, is limited by imperfect senses. With these 4 imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all pervading knowledge. So to put in a chart like this, summarize. So these are the 4 defects. Normal human being tend to make mistakes, tend to become illusion. So there's a picture here, you don't know what is right. You may think that is correct, but it may not be correct. Okay, and they have imperfect senses. That's why we have binocular, telescope, hearing aid, and even with that aid, we can only see or hear to a certain extent only. All right, so our senses are imperfect in that manner. And then there is tendency to cheat others. So this will contaminate the information that we want to disseminate to people. So we can be influenced by these 4 defects. So that is why it is recommended to take the words directly from Krishna and how it has been cascaded down through his pure devotees one by one. So that is how we receive this knowledge. Okay, otherwise, this will be happening. Interpretation, deletion, own whimsical participation in the matter. So it will contaminate, okay, the purity of the information, the knowledge. Okay, so we are entering chapter 17 now. There are 3 types of faith corresponding to and evolving from the three modes of material nature. So just a quick recap from chapter 16. In chapter 16, Krishna mentioned about the faithful followers of Shastras are divine. So the chapter 16 is divinity and demonic, right? The divine and demoniac natures. Okay, the only difference between these two category of people is one is obedient to the Shastras, one is not obedient, one is against the Shastras. So that is divine and demoniac. Okay, and Arjuna will start a question: what if somebody has certain faith but he does not follow the Shastras? Is he a demon? Right, earlier Krishna said those who don't follow the Shastra, they are outrightly demon. So Arjuna asks, what if they have faith but it's just that they don't follow the Shastra? So what is their destination? What will become of them? Is he in goodness, passion, or ignorance? Where is he situated in the banyan tree? This is what Arjuna is trying to ask. So before we move on, I want to zoom this term, faith. What is faith? Faith, as taken from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, faith is confidence. The firm faith is Shraddha. The word used is Shraddha. Is confidence, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to discharge devotional service. Okay, the purport: firm faith and confidence are called Shraddha. When one engages in the Lord's devotional service, he is to be understood to have performed all his responsibilities in the material world. He has satisfied his forefathers, ordinary living entities, and demigods, and is free from all responsibility. Such a person does not need to meet his responsibilities separately. It is automatically done. Fruitive activity, karma, is meant to satisfy the senses of the conditioned soul. However, when one awakens to Krishna consciousness, he does not have to work separately for pious activity. The best achievement of all fruitive activity is detachment from material life. And this detachment is spontaneously enjoyed. Okay, you see this? Detachment is spontaneously enjoyed by the devotee firmly engaged in the Lord's service. So the solution is to detach oneself from material world. But this effort, this purpose is met when one is firmly engaged in the Lord's service. So generally, this chapter 17 has 3 sections. Okay, first Krishna will talk about faith and worship. What is the connection between different faith and what kind of worship they do? If people of different faith, what kind of worship they do? And Krishna will go on to describe the 3 modes, how certain things like foods, sacrifice, austerities, and charities are done in the 3 modes. Okay, and then finally, this is an additional for level 2, the chanting of Om Tat Sat to be made as a part of your sacrifice, austerity, and charity to purify the activity. Okay, so there are 5 things that we will see: worship, food, austerity, sacrifice, and charity. So these 4 items we have covered in level 1. So we will run through that again as a revision. And this is new, worship is new, and Om Tat Sat is new. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so Arjuna is starting the chapter by asking this question. Yashodhamai Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Arjuna uvacha ye shastra vidim usriya yajante sratayan vitaha tesam nistatu ka Krishna satva aholajastamaha. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance?
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So this is the first section about worship. So Arjuna is asking, so when one does not base his faith in Shastric injunctions, Okay, so what will come upon him? I mean, how does he worship? What does he do? Where does he fall? So Krishna will explain. When one does not base his faith in sastric injunctions, his faith becomes based upon his mentality, which is the product of particular conditioning by the modes, how the mentality is influenced by the three modes, and that is how the person will engage in the worshipping. So in chapter 14, if you remember, we learned modes of material nature. And then we learned the importance of cultivation of mode of goodness, that we want to avoid passion and ignorance. We want to elevate ourselves. Okay, and in the chapter 15, we learn about banyan tree. So if you remember the banyan tree, where we covered that in chapter 16 as well, the top part of the banyan tree, the inverted one, right? The top part is comprised of all the divine beings, all right? Divine beings, all in the mode of goodness. And then as you go down, you have lower beings, and they are under the mode of passion and ignorance. So the higher one is nourished by mode of goodness. The lower one nourished by mode of passion and ignorance. Okay, so that's how in chapter 16 we did, right? How the top part of the people are people with divine nature, and in passion and ignorance they are in the lower part, the demonic and the animal kingdom. Okay, so in the 17th chapter, Arjuna is asking, where in the tree will those people who worship with faith, they have faith, but they don't follow scriptures, are these people in goodness or ignorance? Because they have faith. So that is the point, that is the basis for Arjuna's question. Because some people, they have faith, but they don't want to follow certain rules. They don't want to follow what is written in the scriptures. They want to do what they feel like doing whimsically. All right, so but they have faith, they have some sentiment, some attachment to things that they worship in their worship. Okay, so something like those people who create some god by selecting a human being and placing their faith in that worship. Are they in goodness, passion, or ignorance? And what do these people achieve? Do such person attain the perfectional stage of life? So these are all the basis for Arjuna's question here. What will happen to them? Okay. 17.2. Meena Mataji, are you here? Mataji is not here. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Swaswabhavacha Sasvabhavacha Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Chetitam Shrunu. Shrunu means here. Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now, hear about this. Okay, so Krishna is saying, if one does not follow the Vedas, they will follow the natural instincts or the natural mentality that they have, which will be in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. So who are these people that's going to fall under these three modes? Because they don't follow the scriptures, but they have faith. These are the people who know the rules and regulation of scriptures, but out of laziness or indolence, they give up following these rules. So they will come under the governance of the three modes. Okay, how they acquire the three modes? It's based on the previous activities. This one we covered in chapter 13. Previous activities, all the transmigrations, all that. Okay, can we change this influence of the modes? Good news is yes, we can change by the help of the bona fide spiritual master, and coupled with one abides by the rules of scriptures. Okay, some may be in the mode of goodness, some may be in the mode of passion, some may be in the mode of ignorance. But if they are not going to follow scriptures, then they cannot go up to pure goodness. Pure goodness means a level, a platform that is above goodness, passion, and ignorance. Another word is also transcendental. Okay, which means if they do not surpass these three modes, they are not going to be free from birth and death by following their own methods of worship. Okay, there may be some goodness, but the tendency is that it can be contaminated or influenced by mode of passion, and a lot more of ignorance, because they want to do what is easy for them. So that's not how it works, right? When the rules and regulations are there, then we ought to follow. That's why they are there. Okay. However, if they have faith, then their worship will fall in these three modes. So we will see these three modes and their worship and destination. 17.4, Prema Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yajante satvika devan yaksha raksham shirajasaha pritan bhuta ganam shichanye yajante tamasha janaha. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods, those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Hare
So, so we can see here Krishna is saying, men in the mode of goodness pray to demigods. Okay, so and then there are people in the mode of passion worship the demons, and the ignorance worship ghosts and spirit. So basically, people worship the devas in return of some benefits, like I want a good husband, good wife, I want to pass in an exam, I want a good job, I want this, I want that. So usually, it is easy to please the devas for us to get the things that we want. Okay. However, Krishna said that up to the planet of this one, from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. This is our Brahma Bhuvana Loka. From the highest planet, in the material world, the highest planet is Lord Brahma's planet, Brahma Loka. But Krishna says, even if you go up to the Brahma Loka, repeated birth and death take place. Even in heavenly planets, yes, it's good to go up the heavenly to higher planets, but birth and death do take place. Okay. How about this? In the mode of passion, they worship demons. So we have an information here that those days people used to worship Hitler. There was a worship of Hitler, of course, and there are also people who worship the celebrities. They make temples for celebrities, like the idol. So this is all in the mode of passion. Okay, in the mode of ignorance, people worship ghosts and spirits. So all these are, the dark world. Actually, I have a cousin who does this worship. Okay, she does Satan worship. I think she's always in black and things like that. Okay, so one time she came here, and then I was talking about this, so I don't know how much she actually grasped that. So she thought it's something cool, Actually, it's not something cool, it's very dangerous. Okay, so mode of goodness, worship demigods. Mode of passion, worship demons. Mode of ignorance, worship ghosts and spirits. Okay, and there's also worship of sexual service. This is also mentioned in the purport. Worshipping dead spirits, ghosts, sexual service. Okay, so these are the three modes. Okay, maybe I can elaborate a little bit more on this. Okay, when we say worship of demigod, if you ask, why, Mataji, in the Vedic scriptures there is no injunction or rules and regulation for worship of devas? Why is it falling outside the scriptures and it coming under goodness? It's because they have rules and regulation for worship of devas. However, they disregard that guidelines. Okay, they have some sentiment, some love for the deva, but they want to worship the way that one. I want to do this way, I want to do at this time, I want to do on this day. So they just follow whatever way that they want. So this is in the mode of goodness, but we have to be careful so that the mode of passion and ignorance don't contaminate. So that's the difference here. Okay. All right, so what's the conclusion? The conclusion is we need to purify these different qualities of these material modes of nature. And how we do that? Through association with persons of transcendental nature. Okay, so remember why people want to disregard the scriptures and want to worship according to their own natural instinct? Because they give up the sastras out of laziness, because they think this required worship is troublesome, following all these regulations, but yet they faithfully worship the devas. Okay, so this is an explanation given by a great personality, Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushana. Okay. Now, so we are moving to the next section, the food, austerity, charity, and food, austerity, sacrifice, austerity, and charity. So we can make out the mode of faith of somebody by observing the way they eat, they perform their sacrifices, they perform their austerities and charity. So okay, so these are influenced by three modes. Each and every one of these items can be categorized into three: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So there is a chart here. We summarize verses from point 8 to 10. Okay, so we have three modes here, and then we have different characteristics of food falling under these three modes, and what is the effect on us. Okay, the qualities of the food in the mode of goodness is described as juicy, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. The effect of eating it, it will be that it will increase the duration of life. It will also purify us, gives us good health and satisfaction. So it is natural. These are natural food grown on the land. So they give such qualities. In the mode of passion, we have food that are too bitter, sour, or pungent. Or at times it may be salty, hot, dry, and burning. The effect will be one gets a lot of distress, misery, and disease. In the mode of ignorance, we have food that is tasteless, decomposed, putrefied, food that consists of remnants of untouchable things. And the effect of this food is that one loses mercy. Is there vegetable in the mode of ignorance, Mataji? I'm not sure. Do you want to share? If you have heard, you can share, Mataji. Okay. Sleep. The effect is people tend to sleep a lot by eating this kind of food continuously. Sleep, and it gives you laziness and of course mercy, because killing destroys the pillar of mercy. So there are four pillars, right? Mercy, austerity, cleanliness, and truthfulness. So killing will destroy the pillar of mercy. Okay, so the proper food for people is inside this section here, in the mode of goodness. Food like grains, beans, and vegetables. So we can understand the person's nature by the type of food they take. Okay, so when you want to know if the person is in the mode of goodness or passion or ignorance, so we can just observe the way what food they eat. Okay, so to recap, food is generally interesting, right? Food in the mode of goodness will purify. Food in the mode of passion will cause distress, misery, and disease. Food in the mode of ignorance is tasteless, decomposed, consists of remnants or untouchable things. Okay, so and generally people say you are what you eat, right? So where does prasadam fall? Anybody would like to take a guess? Where do prasadam fall? Basically, those are vegetarian food, and it's offered to the Lord. Okay, good try. It's actually fall in pure goodness, above this, transcendental. Okay, these are food remnant of Krishna, the Lord himself. So it's pure goodness or transcendental. So it's above these three. Okay, so that's food. We go to number 3, sacrifice. This is a summary of 17.11 to 13. All right, so another method to know the nature of people is by looking at what sacrifices they perform. Okay, sacrifices means what sort of yagya a person is doing. Yagya, fire sacrifice, or whatever sacrifice, all right? So mode of goodness, in mode of goodness, the sacrifice should be done according to the scriptures. It should be done as a matter of duty and should be done without having any desire for reward. So that is sacrifice in the mode of goodness. Okay, what is the best sacrifice for us in this Kali Yuga? What is the best sacrifice now? You don't need milk, you don't need ghee, you don't need highly qualified brahmanas, you don't need a big space. Yes, it's called Sankirtan. Okay, so the proper yagya is the chanting of the holy name without desire for getting anything in return. So even doing so, it can fall under goodness or passion. Why? When I chant, I hope Krishna will give me this. I hope I can do this. I can do that. So you can still contaminate that consciousness. So we have to be very careful. Okay, when we do the chanting, we don't want to desire anything in return. Only what is the goal of the chanting, Matajis? Have I mentioned this? The meaning of that Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. What is the meaning? What are we asking there? Anybody would like to give it a try? What are we actually asking? Okay, let's see some answers. Blessing, energy and purification to reach Krishna. Some more. Krishna's mercy. For what, Mataji? To do what? We always ask something to do something, right? So what is that? Liberation. Okay, you're pretty close there.
Oh Radhe, oh Krishna,
Uh-huh.
please involve me in our devotional service.
Yes, that is the one. Mataji, can you repeat that?
Correct sentence?
Yes, yes, I can improve that later.
Radhe, oh Krishna, please involve me or please engage me in your devotional service.
Okay, so Hare means energy of Krishna. Okay, Hare or Radharani. Okay, Krishna, Radharani is Krishna's a pleasure potency, Shakti, right? So Hare. Krishna is all attractive. Rama is one who gives pleasure to all. So when we say the full mantra, it means, O energy of Krishna, O the Lord who is all attractive, O Lord who gives pleasure to all, kindly engage me in your devotional service. That is the prayer that we say when we chant. Basically, this is what we want. Remember the ladder in the Astanga Yoga, the Samadhi is absorption in Krishna. Then the liberation comes, right? So to reach that peak, to be absorbed, we need to do the Bhakti Yoga. You have to go up the Bhakti Yoga ladder, take up the Bhakti Yoga ladder. And how do we do that? We have to request from Krishna to constantly engage us in service. So that is the prayer that we are doing through the chanting of Mahamantra. And that is the best sacrifice. Okay. So kirtan is not kirtan chanting is not only done at home. It should be done at not at only at temple. It should be done at home. And then we have also Sankirtan being on the road, Radha Yatra. A few weeks back, I've been showing you how the Spanish devotees were doing Sankirtan on the road. I think it's near the beach or something, right? So they were dancing, it looks so beautiful and all that. So it can be done everywhere. And then there's one time I even shared how a dog also can take part in the Sankirtan. So it's free for all. There is no qualification, not exclusive. Brahmanas only should take part in this. So we don't need all that. Okay. So performing kirtan every day should be done as a service to Krishna in the mode of goodness without asking anything in return. Okay, so we go to the next one, sacrifice in the mode of passion. So you can see how a person's sacrifice falls under passion. When you see that, it is performed for some material benefit. All right, like what? For the sake of pride, name, fame. My name should be on the board, the donor's board, something like that. Or that one can be very close related to charity. But sacrifice is like you throw a big, yagya or something to show that you are religious. So this is done in the mode of passion for the sake of pride, for some material benefit. I'm doing this so that I can, I can build a bigger house or get a bigger job, get better job. These are the sacrifice done in the mode of passion, in return of something, return for something. And the mode of ignorance, sacrifice in the mode of ignorance is done without regards to scriptures, okay, without distribution of prasadam, without the chanting of the Vedic hymns, without faith in the Supreme, and no remuneration to priests. Okay, when we when we call somebody to perform sacrifices for us, we need to pay them, right? Dakshina. You can pay in cash or kind. Sometimes people give cloth to the person who did the yagya. So, and before you appoint somebody to the yagya for you, you want to really be careful what kind of person that we are calling, what kind of life they are living. We don't want to call somebody who is involved in abominable activities and ask them to come and do yagya for us. So we want to be very careful on that. All right, so they can be influenced by the mode of passion and ignorance. Probably they are just doing it for money, not with the faith of the Supreme Lord. So there is no purity. So these are sacrifices in the mode of ignorance. Okay, no reference to scriptures, no distribution of prasadam, no chanting of Vedic hymns. Without faith, no remuneration to priests. So if you see this picture here, this is interesting picture. Let me try to zoom that. Okay, you can see a fire here. And what can you see, Matajis? I just want to make sure that you all can see what's happening in this picture. What's flying into the fire? Can you see here? What's flying in? Okay, let me see. Snakes. Anybody knows what story is this? Okay, now let me explain.
Is it a Mahabharata prince or Raja Parikshit or something?
Parikshit,
Parikshit, yeah. Is it
But-
that one?
Yes. You want to tell, Mataji?
Oh yeah, this is a Mahabharatam where the line of his line will be ending by a snake or something. He had to make this sacrifice to. I actually forgot. It's something to do with the forgiveness or to kill the snake or something like that.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, thank you. I will explain now, right? So what happens was King Parikshit, one time he went to a hut looking for food or water. Then he saw a Muni was sitting there in a deep meditation. And then he got a little upset because this Muni did not realize the presence of Parikshit Maharaj. And you know what he did? He took a dead snake lying nearby and put around the Muni's neck, and he went off. So soon after, the Muni's son came back. The Muni's son's name is Janamejaya. So when he saw that he knew that King Parikshit has done this to the father, he got so furious and he threw a curse. When he threw a curse, sorry, not Janamejaya. The Muni's son's name I forgot. Shringi, I think Shringi. So he passed a curse. He passed a curse that Parikshit Maharaj, after 7 days, he will die. He will be killed by a snake bird, Takshaka. The snake bird's name is Takshaka, the species, right? It's a flying bird. All right, so when the news came to Parikshit's son, Janamejaya, you know what he did? He performed this fire sacrifice. He performed this fire sacrifice to attract all the snakes come and fall into the fire and die, so that the father will not be killed by any snakes. So you see, he is doing a sacrifice. However, the motive is to kill the snakes to save his father. So this one is with some benefit. So this is a mode of passion or mode of ignorance. So this is not recommended in the scriptures. All right, so this is the example. Okay, it will not benefit anybody. Okay, so finally, Parikshit Maharaj will be killed by a Takshaka bird. Okay, so that 7 day, during the 7 days, King Parikshit wanted to perfect his life. So he asked sages, what do I do? I have only 7 days to live. What do I do to perfect my life? All right, he was not at all mad at the Shringi for throwing that curse. All right, he was very repentant about what he did, but he never got angry. So he thought maybe this is the arrangement. So I'm going to live my life in the last 7 days in a pure mentality, pure mindset, and let me do whatever is necessary. So that's when Srimad Bhagavatam was delivered within 7 days. So it was basically given to Parikshit Maharaj because of this story. Okay, so this is what we are hearing until now. Okay, it was given to him by Sukadeva Goswami. Okay, so this one here, we can see people throwing a lot of things here. They are also burning. I can see some bikes, something like that. So this also could have been done with some material benefit, maybe some protest. So this is not a proper yagya. So this is more of ignorance. So we shouldn't be doing this as well. Okay. All right, that's it. So we move to austerity. So austerity, we are doing a little bit additional in level 2, okay, compared to what we covered in level 1. So austerity, there are, is also called threefold austerity. There is the body, there is speech, there is mind. Okay, so we go to the body first. Prema Papu Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Deva Vijay Guru Prajna Pujanam Saucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa Cha Sariram Tapa Uchyate. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master and superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
thank you Mataji. So there are 5 items here to see that whether we are practicing austerity of body or not. Okay, one is the worship of the Supreme Lord, so we need to use the body to worship. Number 2, worship the Brahmanas, invite them over, give them food, worship them that way. Okay, this is a Vamana Dev, so everybody's like looking at him with so much of love. Next, offering respects to spiritual master. This is offering arati to spiritual master, so we offer puja to the spiritual master. Then offering respects to elders like parents, father and mother. Okay, you see, austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like father and mother. Can anybody recall the Tamil proverb that we have talks about this, the austerity of the body? Anybody from Tamil background or medium, or you don't have to be from Tamil background necessarily?
Mada Pida Guru Devam.
Yes, yes, Mataji. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Tamari Mataji, Saras Mataji. Yeah. So it's in Bhagavad Gita as well, offering respects to the elders. Okay, and then next will be, okay, this is the offering respects, Supreme Lord, Brahmana, spiritual master, superiors like the father and mother, and also cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, non-violence. Cleanliness, right? Cleanliness of the body, cleanliness of the mind, cleanliness of the speech. Okay, simplicity, being simple. Celibacy, like what the brahmacharis practice, refraining from communication or connection with women, right? So that's celibacy. And non-violence, these are all austerity of body. So there are 2 sections here, so we want to remember them. Okay, next is after body we have speech. Pushpa Mataji. Pushpa Mataji is not here. Okay. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literatures. Okay, so this is basically a speech filter. Okay, so we want to ensure that whatever we speak goes through this process. Is it true? Is it pleasing? Is it beneficial? Is it agitating? Is it not agitating? We want to ask this. All right, a teacher can correct only his students, even if it is agitating. Guru can be very heavy. I also pernah kena marah, all that. But a teacher would not reprimand somebody who is not his students. So that is the communication. That is the right the teacher has over the students. So we will never reprimand the teacher. Oh, how can you say something that could agitate my child? Of course, we want to make sure that it doesn't go into abuse, but we are talking about the ideal, the optimum situation. Okay. So, and then we also Regularly recite Vedic literature. Why? That is purity of speech. You recite, right? You chant, like how we all are chanting here. This is, you are regularly reciting the Vedic literature, like every week we are doing this. Okay, Krishna says in chapter 15, text 15, Krishna says, I am the compiler of the Vedas. So how good it would be for us to regularly recite the Vedic literature, which is given by none other than Krishna. Okay, so we have limitless stock of Bhakti Sastras and Veda Sastras. So we can recite that. Just recite, just sing or read. So that's reciting. Okay, so remember austerity of, earlier we saw body. Okay, we talked about giving respects to elders, and then the cleanliness, simplicity and all that. And then we are looking at speech filters. Is it true? Is it pleasing? Is it beneficial? Is it not agitating? This one is, you see, we can see that a lot of things in Bhagavad Gita is not really as religious as it is, right? You can share this with everybody. You can share with your students, you can share with your children. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, so you have to use the speech filters, respect the elders. So this is applicable for all, everybody. Nobody can say, oh, this is only for Hindus, there's no such thing. All right, and then you have covered chapter 17, 2 rounds already. So we have not seen Krishna talking about being a Hindu or Indian, right? He never says that. Okay, so yes, regularly reciting Vedic literature. Now we are done with body, we are done with austerity of speech. Now we are going into austerity of mind. Saras Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Bhagavad Gita chapter 17.16. Mana prasada sauyatyam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samsutir hidi etha tapo manasham uchayet. And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purifications of one's existence are the austerities of the mind. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So, austerity of mind. So, these are the characteristics: gravity in thought, satisfaction, simplicity, self-control, purification of one's existence. So we will look at that one by one, right? So let's talk about the mind, how to make the mind austere. To make the mind austere, we need to detach it from sense gratification. Okay, we should not deviate from Krishna consciousness, means conscious of Krishna, conscious of God, spiritual things, and must always avoid sense gratification. This is in the context of excessiveness, right? So satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. That is what we call as, what we are referring to by this one, purification. All right, the more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. Always want to do this, always want to do this, always want to get this. If we don't get that, we get disappointed. Okay, so control the mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. So that is purification of one's existence, other austerities of the mind. What else the mind can do? What else can we do to make our mind austere? One is detaching our mind from sense enjoyment, because it gives us restlessness and dissatisfaction. Okay. Next is, we need to train our mind to think about welfare of others. It should be trained that it can be always thinking of doing good for others. So that is austerity of mind. You're always thinking about doing good to others. So we have lots of nice moral values here as well. All right, and when we do that, the mind should be devoid of duplicity. Be honest, right? Genuine. And one should think, that way one should think of the welfare of all. Okay, think of welfare of others, always think of doing good to others, free of duplicity, devoid of duplicity. Okay, so that's how Prabhupada explained. So what is the solution here? How are we going to purify our mind? Okay, so the best solution, the best course is to divert the mind to the Vedic literatures, all right, which is full of satisfying stories, as in the Puranas and the Mahabharatas. If you take the Bhagavad Gita itself, you are learning so much of moral values here already, good values, good things. All right. So silence means not being silent. Silencing the mind means not, or not thinking about anything at all. It should be always thinking of self-realization, always engaging the mind in something good. Okay, so like that, we want to detach our mind from sense gratification to avoid dissatisfactions, and we want to train our mind to be always thinking of doing good to others, thinking of others' welfare. And while we do that, we want to be straightforward in our dealings, no duplicity. All right, in that way we can purify our existence. So these are all austerities of mind. So all these qualities together constitute austerities in mental activities, mind, right? Mental activities. Okay, Mataji. So this is a continuation. So earlier we saw body, mind, body, speech, and mind. Now we will see what is the motivation behind these austerities under three modes and the goal. Why? All right, or what happens when we do these activities under these three modes. Okay, so austerity is another way of saying what mode a person is in. Those who are in the mode of goodness, they do austerity for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, okay, and not for material benefit. Like we are doing fasting on holy days like Ekadashi or Janmashtami. So these are austerity for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. We do fasting for the disappearance or appearance days of our gurus, the incarnations of Krishna, Vishnu Tattva, Krishna's appearance day, Ekadashi. So these are the examples, the occasions of our fasting days. All right. So when we observe this fasting, it's not to show off that I'm fasting or I'm better than you. It's not that. It's for the pleasure of the Lord. Okay, not for our own benefit. We cannot be motivated by, okay, this is a detox, or let's these are all side effects. You give rest to the system and all, but the ultimate motive is to please the Lord. Because when we observe fastings on these special days, it means we are reducing the demands of our tongue and belly, and use the time, all right, time and energy from cooking elaborate food for us. Like every day we do that, spending so much of time eating and cooking. So we use the time to be engaged in devotional services. So in that way, it will attract the Lord's mercy and also the Guru's mercy. So on these occasions, so like that we can advance quicker, faster. Okay, so this should be our motivation. Next, performing austerity in the mode of passion. Why people do this? When they are seeking pride. So similar to the sacrifice. Okay, they want people to know how rich they are, how religious they are, how great they are. They will let everyone know that they are fasting for so many days, okay, so these are the subtle things that they want to expecting to be honored for having done so. All right, for gaining respect, honor, and worship. So that is the mode of passion. Austerity in the mode of ignorance is born of foolishness. Okay, and what do? Self-torture, or they either torture themselves or they destroy or injure others. Okay, like how we have Hiranyakashipu. This is the picture of Hiranyakashipu. What he did, his austerity was so severe that he only left with bones. His body was eaten by ants. Okay, why? Because he wants the boon to fight the Lord. So this is austerity in the mode of ignorance. So like this, there are so many people who manufacture different austerities and penances not mentioned in the scriptural, in the scriptures. Okay, for example, fasting for ulterior purpose, like political, right? They want to promote something political, which is not mentioned in the scriptural direction. It's not part of scriptural directions. All right, they do this fasting for to demand something. All right, to demand something, to get things done. All right, this is out of pride, false ego, lust, and attachment for material enjoyments. So this is all man-made austerities. Okay, so this kind of austerities, it disturbs the combined material elements in the body. And we have to remember that our body, the Supreme Lord, is also residing in our body as super soul. So we don't want to torture that as well. Okay, so this kind of unauthorized fasting or austerities for some political end or for some material benefit, it's certainly very disturbing to others. Okay, so that's why it is recommended to follow what is given in the scriptures. Okay, and then some people, they will think that by doing this, Sagumvare Unavardam, all these things, right? They want to force their enemy or other parties to comply with their desire, with his desire by this method. All right, and sometimes people die from such fasting. So these methods are not, these acts are not approved by the law, not approved by the scriptures. So definitely the scriptures will not recommend something that's harmful like that, or fatal like that. Okay, so yeah, so we have to be very careful about that. Okay, so we move to charity, the last part of this. 1720. Okay, I will just read the, hold on, my phone. Okay, so this is a summary from 1720 to 22. So the, yes, Mataji? Okay. Okay, so in 1720 to 22, the Lord talks about charity, which can also be in different modes. So some people think it's all right to give charity. We are helping people, excuse me, but that may be in the mode of ignorance. So we need to know who are we, who are the proper people, what are the proper medium, what are the proper time and place and circumstance that we want to give the charity. Okay, in the mode of goodness, it is charity is given dutifully. No expectation of return, at proper place and time, to a worthy person. So we want to ensure that the charity is to deserving people. Okay. Charity in the mode of passion, well, obviously when person who's giving the charity expecting some return for name, fame, glory, right? And with desire for fruits. Okay, I'm going to give this charity in the expectation of something. Okay, or in a grudging mood. Okay, that's that's very bad. Also, giving charity in the mode of passion. I don't like to give, but I'm still giving. I'm forced to give. So that is charity in the mode of passion. Ignorance. You want to be very, very careful about this. Giving to unworthy persons at impure place, at improper time, without proper attention and respect. You don't want to give. Do you all donate to beggars? Actually, I stopped very long ago. I stopped giving money to beggars. All right, so you can see like blind people also, they are selling tissues. So you can do that because they're not begging. You see, they are trying to make living. So we can buy that. But if you're going to give money without having an exchange, like there is no goods or service exchange, then you are actually, we don't know how the money will be engaged in. Probably he's going to buy some more drugs or drinks, and probably with that he's going to cause harm to others. So although some people say, okay, your duty is done by just giving the money, but it's not a proper way of giving charity. Okay, so we want to be very careful about these three. So the best charity is to give charity of Krishna consciousness. This will give everlasting effect on somebody. All right, not only for this life, it will be carried on to the next life as well. All right, so if you want to donate food, then you want to give prasadam. Okay, there's one time when one beggar asked money, then I have this principle of not giving money to beggar, and because he's so obviously he was so drunk, then I told him, I have a bun, you want if you're hungry. Then he scolded me and went off. So which means these people are not hungry. They want more money to engage in the activity that they are doing. So we want to be careful with that. Okay. All right. So we are going to the additional section for level 2 here. This is Om Tat Sat. Okay. 7023. Shobha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho brahmanas tri vedas smrita brahmanas tena vedascha yajnascha vihita pura. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So these three words are referring to supreme, the supreme absolute truth. So these words are used when Brahmanas, when they do the Vedic rituals, right? So along with the chanting of the hymns, they also chant this for the satisfaction of the supreme. Okay. Yeah, so Om Tat Sat, they will perform all the prayers. Finally, they will say Om Tat Sat. So it perfects the thing, right? So this is mentioned in the scriptures. Yes, Mataji. Oh, I see. I see. Okay, all right. Okay, so we move on to the next slide. Tamari Mataji.
Om Tat Sat are the words taken from Vedic hymns indicating the absolute truth, Lord Krishna. Om Om Ida Brahmano Nistitam Nama. Tat Tvam Asi. What's the word? Wait, I put my glasses on. Chanduya
That's okay, Mataji. You
Upanishad.
can go on.
Okay. Sat eva
Saumya.
Saumyam. Okay. Om transcendental, undertaking a performance of sacrifice, charity and penance in accordance with the scriptural regulation begins always with Om to attain the Supreme. That without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kind of sacrifice, penance, and charity in accordance with that. Sat, the absolute truth, is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So Om is how we begin to attain the supreme. Begin any sacrifice, charity, or penances in accordance with scriptural regulations. And Tat is to tell that we are performing these various sacrifice, penance, and charity without desiring for fruitive results. And Sat, it will be we are doing all of this to please the Supreme Lord. He is the ultimate objective. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional service, and it is indicated by the word Sat. So we always end it with Om Tat Sat. Okay, so the penance, sacrifice, charity, foods, when aimed at the Supreme Om Tat Sat, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they become means for spiritual elevation. Okay, so all the four things that we learned, it should be accompanied with the word Om Tat Sat, and consciously it should be meant for the Supreme. And then these activities will become means for our spiritual elevation. Okay, just a quick recap. All right, so how are we going to aim or direct, dovetail all these activities in the pleasure of the Supreme? Is by fasting, right? So examples were like I mentioned earlier, Ekadasi, Janmashtami. So these are main ones, right? So that's austerity. Sacrifice, of course, Sankirtana Yagya. I think this one Vayi Mataji, right? Vayi Mataji, are you here? Mataji is not here. Whatever result was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So this is the best sacrifice which is aimed to please the Supreme. Okay, so this is Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma means the occupation for Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga Dharma. Next is charity. How are we directing charity? Charity aimed at the Supreme. We can help in propagating Krishna consciousness by donating money, or it could be energy as well. You donate money, energy, time, right? Book distribution, building Krishna temple, prasadam distribution. So we have this what we call food for life. When things were very normal before the pandemic, we used to have food for life distribution on every Sunday at Central Market, like a soup kitchen thing, right? So we do that, and then in worldwide, whenever there are disaster, where there are places stricken with disaster, the ISKCON will provide the food for life program. So the statistics that we have right now is ISKCON feeds 2.5 lakh people in the morning and 2.5 lakh people in the evening. Okay, so this way we can direct our charity in many ways. So it will be, in this way, it will be aimed at the Supreme. Okay, Om Tat Sat. Okay, so food. So how do we aim? This is very easy, what we can do every day. We cook and offer the food to Krishna, and we take it as Mahaprasadam. So this is real. I'm missing this food. This is how the food will come out after our every festivals. It will be like so many, everybody will rush to come and take it. Okay, this is real, not just illustration. And this is from ISKCON Juhu, real story. So we are missing the food prasadam. Okay, so we have a story here. This is to just show the quality of the Supreme, which we also want to imbibe in our life. So once long ago, there was a discussion among a group of sages. They wanted to see of these three, the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva. They want to see who is the most tolerant, all right, who has the most tolerant quality. So what they did was they appointed one sage. They appointed Bhrigu, sage Bhrigu, Bhrigu Muni. So what this Bhrigu Muni did, first he went to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is, Bhrigu is one of the sons of Lord Brahma. Okay, and when he entered, he did not like pay respect or anything, because he wants to test, you see. So when he went in without offering him any respect, Brahma got very angry. However, he suppressed his anger because Bhrigu is, after all, his son. So there Bhrigu could actually gauge the tolerance level of Lord Brahma. So after that, he went to Kailash. He went to meet Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva was, very lovingly, he wanted to come and hug Bhrigu Muni. But Bhrigu Muni, what he did, oh, stay away, you are so dirty, you have ashes all around your body. So he was saying like that. And then Lord Shiva got angry. He took his trident to, he started attacking Bhrigu Muni, but he was stopped by Mother Parvati. All right, she pacified the husband. After that, Bhrigu Muni went to Vaikuntha to test Lord Narayan. And then he was, when he went, Lord Narayan was lying down. Okay, he was lying down on the lap of Mother Lakshmi. So Bhrigu Muni was thinking why this Lord did not wake up to offer him respects. Bhrigu Muni is a great sage, all right. So he was, what he did? He kicked Lord Shiva's on the Lord Vishnu on the chest. Then the Lord woke up. And he said, "Oh my dear Bhrigu Muni, I didn't realize that you are here. Please welcome. Please have a seat." He gave him the hospitality, and then he started massaging the Bhrigu Muni's feet. "Oh, my chest is so strong like thunderbolt. I hope it did not hurt your feet." And he was massaging him like that. And then that's when Bhrigu Muni noticed that Lord Vishnu has the very tolerant quality. He's got very good quality of being tolerant, and he wanted to serve. Okay, and that's how Lord Vishnu will tell, "Kindly forgive us, dear master, for not noticing your arrival." All right, so Bhrigu Muni went back to the assembly of the sages and told them that all that happened. So they concluded that Lord Vishnu certainly has the more tolerant, more supreme quality. Okay, so of course, Srila Prabhupada commented that, of course, Lord Vishnu is all merciful. He did not become angry at the activity of Bhrigu Muni, because Bhrigu Muni was a great Brahmana. So this was there's a reason why they. Okay, just give me a second. I need to answer this vaccination call. Hold on. Hello. Okay. All right. Sorry. All right. So Prabhupada commented that, however, Goddess Lakshmi was a little offended because it is the place where she resides, the chest of Lord Vishnu. So that is why it is said that Mother Lakshmi, she withholds the benedictions from Brahmanas, and that's why Brahmanas generally are poor. All right, so she's not been very favorably disposed toward the Brahmanas. Yeah, so okay, so we also want to imbibe some qualities that Lord Vishnu displayed, demonstrated. Okay, so we can actually do one round. We finish the class. Any questions, Mataji? We can do one round chanting.